in the deep, where they watch me while I sleep. Don't require your belief, offering silence but no relief. Can you scream without a sound, like the freeze that's coming down? Barren space where nothing grows, a secret place where no one goes.
Chaos Springs Eternal is a Delta Green actual play. Delta Green by its nature deals with violent themes, disturbing imagery, and horrors beyond our comprehension. Now, if you wouldn't mind comprehending some horrors with us, I think you'll have a good time.
Can you feel me in the fall? Hold me from this epilogue. My hands are frozen in the snow. The eyes of corpses have no glow. Make these changes just for myself. Rambling about my mental health. Demons on this hazy hill. Only my soul is left to kill.
Welcome back to Chaos Springs Eternal presents Season 1, City of Woe.
Whoa.
I need that whoa. We need that whoa tonight. I'm trying to keep my energy up, man. Coming off a little sinus infection, so that I've just like my nose is so. This happened like our first episode too. By the way, you guys know we're almost like at 52 episodes, which I know we've been going for more than a year at this point, but that's like our year mark. That's wild.
It is wild,
And we've done nothing.
We've made it 5 minutes into the show.
We've gone back and forth to the manor a lot.
Yeah. I remember you first told us, like, I expect you to solve, like, the first arc in, like, 5 episodes, 20 episodes in.
Yeah. Yeah, look.
I just realized, is the manor gonna be the prison from The Walking Dead?
We gotta go back.
No, not Herschel's farm. Herschel's farm. It's like, oh, fuck, they're going back there. All right.
Well, the other thing is, are we bad at this?
Yeah.
Extremely.
You guys might be listen, you guys, there's a reason that you guys aren't Delta Green agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this was given to the leak squad, they'd have this wrapped up in, like, I don't know, 27 episodes max.
Max.
They'd have shot and killed Glomus right away.
Yeah, Glomus would be dead. Everything would be buttoned up. They would know how Antoine was killed, for sure.
They would have looked at his body and been like, oh, it's clear.
They would have lost one guy to the wall.
His spleen was used in an occult ritual to change the weather. Duh.
Yep. Duh. So obvious.
Idiots.
So obvious, you dumb fucks.
Oh, I'm glad that you guys have now figured out that little, like, first secret, first clues. Making these connections. I'm glad that, like, I really enjoyed it. For me, it was a lot of fun to write some of these notes. Like, I've had this idea. I mean, this was one of the first things that sort of I thought of, as I was like, what if there was magic that could summon a hurricane? And then from there, I've kind of built out the whole idea of the Maw and, like, the cult and what they're doing and little bits and pieces. And I've just been building this all in the background. And so for y'all to finally have a reason to have this notebook was really exciting for me.
Yeah. Giving players information on what the fuck is going on is so fun as the DM going, like, watching them just go like, oh, we were entirely wrong.
Yeah.
It was fun to go through, too, to read it out loud. It was fun.
100%.
Yeah, and I wanted to present it in a way that wasn't purely mechanical. Obviously, there was some mechanical language in there, but the idea of, like, hey, actually, people discover magic rituals, right? When they tap into these things, they don't know them all just at once, right? If you come upon a grimoire, and you figure this out, you might have to do some testing and that sort of thing. And we've kind of been playing around with that with some. Tyler and I have been kind of playing around with that with Joel and the things that he's learning how to do, a little bit with Marcy, the things that she's learning how to do. A little bit with Cyril, the things that he's doing, right? So I like this sort of progressively unfolding because, with these sort of occult and unnatural things, I feel like there should be a little bit of progression. Like you shouldn't be able to master it right away, right? Or at least if you do, there should be some big risks. And I made some rolls in the background, for example, when Joel has been scrying, and so far he's passed all of them. But it, spoiler alert, it does get progressively harder to pass these. And so at some point we're gonna see what happens. All actions have consequences, right? So last episode was episode 50. This is episode 51. So next one will be 52. But obviously we had, Chaos Sprung a Leak, and so we've had bits.
A few weeks off here and there for holidays and so on.
Yeah. But last episode we talked about Cyril. He had the beginning of the episode, he was looking through some of the photos that he had taken but didn't remember from the Carrefour Museum, right, where we had this special exhibit. The exhibit being the Wonders from the Cradle of Civilization. That he had a bunch of photos specifically of the chalice and of other people there looking at the chalice. And so Cyril, Joel, and Marcy tried to put together any memory that they had of what happened. Marcy had a little bit of a memory of going to the museum, but otherwise, how you got there, when you got there, anything that happened. I mean, looking at your phones to see text and call records, nothing really came of that. You stopped by a local taco truck to investigate a little bit, found out that they didn't go to church that morning because this is all Sunday afternoon, and they hadn't been in town Saturday night. Oh my gosh. You guys didn't find that out. I just told you that.
Let's go.
Well, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Free lore.
They go to church out of town, and so they had not been in town because they were in no rush to get back to go to church. Heads up, in case you were wondering, they weren't in town last night. God dang it! I even have it in parentheses as a little reminder to myself.
Don't say it.
Yep, that's.
Don't tell them this part.
Gotta put the page break in.
Well, I think that might be the first time that's happened in this podcast where I've just had a note that was like, "This is for me to remember," and I just read it out loud. Cool, excellent.
That is so like reading the stage shorthand, like during the play.
Disappointed. That's still my favorite little thing that ever happened in TV. But anyways, y'all got in touch with Glomus, and he had mentioned that he had translated everything, right? So maybe this was Monday night that I'm talking about. I don't remember the exact days. It's all a little fuzzy, but we're on Monday roughly, I think.
No, we're still. I don't think we ever went the next day. I think we came.
No, because Sunday night. Maybe you're right, because
we were gearing up to end Sunday. I know that much.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had anything reasonable to do on Sunday.
Yeah, this is still Sunday. Okay, thank you for reminding me. But he had translated the Journal of Tony Black, right? Didn't take him too long because he actually can speak Enochian, and perhaps it also didn't take too long because you guys realized, and he found out that lots of the notes that Tony Black were taking was from this grimoire written by a guy named George Monty, who was Glomus, right? Glomus was George Monty before he turned into a ghoul, and so he had a little sort of existential crisis about what this means for him. Y'all all, comforted him, assured him this is all totally normal. It happens to everybody. It's totally fine. Everyone can create eldritch abominations that destroy lives and wreak havoc. And
they can do that prematurely too. It's fine. Everybody does it every now and again.
Yeah, it's fine. They have a pill for that now. And in our little
crisis that lasts more than 8 hours.
Oh yeah. And then we had a little post-credit scene just of because it was a Sunday afternoon, where everyone was chatting in the park, and we saw Pastor Guidry and assistant pastor or guest pastor Goldsmith, walking around chatting together. So that was just a little nice note to sort of check in on the town and see various things. So just curious, well, what are you guys going to do now?
Didn't the new pastor mouth something at me?
I believe he did.
I think I failed the check on that one, but I think he did. It was
He
like,
looked at you at least.
yeah. And that's unforgivable.
Yep.
Don't you ever look at me.
How dare you look at me with those Christian eyes?
How dare you make me bleed my own blood?
I see the mark of the bull in you.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I think that we were contemplating going to the museum.
Yeah.
The museum.
The museum for the wonders of the cradle of civilization.
We're going to
Yeah,
go at
we
night
were-
to see if everything comes alive like the hit film.
Oh boy.
A good evening
Okay.
at the place of education.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That's the one.
That's
So I
the
think
dollar
that's
store bin version.
Yeah, I don't want this.
Starring Kirk Cameron.
Turkey Sprint also in there.
Okay, we cannot just devolve
Okay, I'm done. I'm
into
sorry.
into dime
I'm
store
sorry.
names of movies.
But yeah, I'm pro going to the museum. I just want to make sure that we are somehow warded or something. Just if going there once like zapped our brain cells and made us go to church, a second dip will probably result in us donating all of our money to the pastor's causes. The
I love
pastor
that
now
you
owns
do
the
it
like
rights
that.
to Phantom Phinders.
God.
I like that we got zapped into going to church.
I don't know how to say it like that because like this.
You remember that time we got fucked up and then we had to go to church? Oh, I love it.
You ever been on a bender so hard you woke up at a
You
Catholic
woke up at a church.
Catholic temple? It's like, is this mass? What the fuck? Where was I?
Wake up.
How did this happen? Man, I must have been really fucked
This is the
up.
worst possible outcome.
Condescendence
how dare I
in full
do
like
this?
suit and tie during communion. You're about to eat the cracker. Like, wait a minute.
You wake up
I didn't even dip this
circumcised.
yet. What's happening? Okay. I definitely think that if we're gonna go in, we need some kind of protection. The problem is what can we protect from if we don't know what is
Yeah.
happening, you know?
The best I got is trying to do that. Calling down my holy guardian angel again, but it hasn't worked out well anytime I've tried it.
Yeah.
Well,
That, or
now's
we could
as
see if
good
I
a time
can,
as any.
yeah, or we can see if I can
Oh,
gaze into an object and not just a person.
true.
Ooh.
The problem is, if whatever is doing that catches on, I'll need to be protected from something like coming back with me or like chasing me back here. If I can even look through out of the bubble that we have around the manor.
That is true. If it has like some type
Yeah.
of feedback where they can, if you can scry into it, will it be able to scry into you? If it's some intelligence to it.
You never know what could happen if you, if you scry into an object. That could be interesting.
What if we investigated the priest?
Also true. Also true.
Because if we go back to the chalice, there's a chance that we go ballistic or donate our kidneys or something, and we still need those. But maybe we can... What was the name of the priest that did the guest sermon today?
Reverend Elias Goldsmith.
Elias Goldsmith.
What if we just go have a chat with him? See if we can deduce anything that way, get anything out of him.
Yeah, that was the other possibility.
He
was talking to those two people.
He made pointed eye contact with me and mouthed something. I didn't understand what he said. I don't feel like he cast anything on me in that moment. I'm not ruling out that he is some type of fucked up wizard. But we're kind of freeballing here with a few things we're trying to juggle at once.
Well, let's do this. Let's go talk to the priest, because we can do that without relative safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's go talk to them and see if we can get some stuff out of them. And then worst come to worst, we can go to the museum.
Why not scry on the priest or the other pastor? Because I mean, maybe we should go talk to the previous. Yeah, maybe we should talk to Guidry.
Maybe we should talk to Guidry.
Because like this is a new guy came into his territory.
Why don't we just talk to both?
Yeah, and he didn't seem put off by him that much.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's under some sort of spell, if you will.
Or it's just like we brought in this guy who gets money to the church.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that money's going to the church.
No, it certainly doesn't.
No.
Well, I think that interviewing either one of those two men would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think we should maybe save the museum for later.
I think we should talk to the priests. I think we should start with the guest one, because there's a higher chance of him dipping out before we get a chance to talk to him.
Very true.
That's a good idea. Well, let's see if we can set something up. I'll go down there. Or do you want to scry on him, Joel?
I mean, I can. I think maybe we should start just by asking if he's still around town. We can go back to church and see if he knows, or might have his number, so we can set up some kind of interview. Because at minimum, it would be interesting for our show to have talks with someone so influential in the spiritual to talk about ghosts in our world and what that could potentially mean for the church.
That is true, because set it up like we're asking. Yeah. Good train of thought.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go do that.
Yeah, let's go to the church. We'll ask if they know where Goldsmith went.
Yeah.
Okay. Rolling up to the church, pulling into the parking lot. In the church still is Gretchen Guidry, wife of Etienne Guidry, the pastor. And she is sort of doing some final cleanup, and she's also taking all the donations, actually. She's basically putting them all into the church safe, right? Because they're going to have donations, and they'll put everything. They usually keep it there, and then the next day is when the armored truck comes for making bank deposits, because banks aren't open on Sundays, so they got to hold all that cash somewhere. And so she's doing that as y'all come in. You knock or open the door. It's relatively empty. There's a handful of people who are still there chatting, sort of in the pews. It's not unusual for Sundays for these sort of things to linger on for a little bit. There might be someone in like one of the exterior rooms practicing like on an organ. It's not unusual for a handful of people to still be in the church, well past when you might expect on a Sunday. But she is finalizing some of these things as you come in. So you'd have to flag her down to get her attention. And assuming you do that, she says, sorry, I just realized that was going to be really bad podcasting. If I was like, you have to do this. And then you're like, we do that. And then I'm like, all right, cool. This is what happens when you do that.
Is it any better if you then discuss how bad it would have been if you just did the thing?
Yeah, because people can empathize and it makes us more human, right?
That's right.
They're like, they're stupid. They're stupid we are.
They're dumb like us.
Dan?
That's crazy that they still haven't learned that we're just 4 generative AIs talking to each other. That's crazy.
Error. You have run out. We've already made this joke. Oh my gosh. I just realized we made this joke like dozens of episodes ago. Yeah.
51 episodes.
Oh, man. That's all it's taken. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, she says, hey, Cyril and Joel and Marcy, how are y'all doing? Did you enjoy the sermon today? I thought it was real interesting, real different, but real interesting.
Yeah. Looks like the church is really benefiting from Mr. Goldsmith being here.
Oh, well, it's not something that we try to do, but when we got sort of the call in and counseled over it, we said, all right, well, yeah, of course, we don't mind offering a guest spot, and he was, Reverend Goldsmith was very generous and offered his time and talents. He's not even asking for a fee or anything. He just said he wanted to preach to Carrefour. In fact, we have you all to thank for his coming here. Did you know that?
No, is he a fan?
Well, he said that he had never heard of Carrefour before until he saw y'all on national TV, and then as he sort of learned about the town, he thought it was just such a wonderful place. He said, I wonder if there's a place I can go and then maybe preach. This is far from his home congregation, but he said, he came and offered, and of course Etienne was happy to after we talked and made sure that everything was okay. Real interesting, huh?
Yeah, that's his home, like his home flock.
Oh, he's based out of South Carolina, I think.
God damn it!
Everything bad comes from South Carolina.
Yeah,
just
almost
terrible people
Ohio.
down there. I'm just fucking with you, Noah.
Someone real quick.
I've said it a couple times.
Yeah, that's actually quite fascinating because we came here because we wanted to talk with him. Actually, we were hoping that he was either still around or you might have his number or something so we can get in contact.
Well, I don't have my phone on me, but I do have his number. If you give me a few minutes, I can go grab it. But I think he and Etienne are just walking around the park. I think they wanted to walk around, maybe go check out the museum, or I think maybe even go check out the candy factory, just to see. He was curious about some of the history of the town and that sort of thing. I don't know. The candy factory stopped doing tours, but Etienne, can get in the front door sometimes and maybe show them behind the scenes some of the manufacturing.
Oh,
yeah. If you wouldn't mind actually getting a hold of your husband and seeing where he's at, we'd love to meet up with him and kind of talk to him. We were kind of thinking about maybe having a conversation, at least with him, since he was such a big hit with the congregation, the whole town really. That it might be fun to ask a man of the cloth what our discovery means to them.
Yeah. I mean, of course. She kind of looks at you and she's like, well, you guys have never interviewed Eddie, and I'm sure he'd be happy to give that.
We want to do
them
both.
Just ask. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're together, that's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. I'll, if you don't mind, let me finish cleaning up just a little bit and finishing my duties, and I'll grab my phone from the back office and give them a call real quick.
Before you go,
she just says, "Yes."
Sorry, but before you go to get your phone, do you remember coming to church this morning?
She looks at you and she kind of screws up her face a little bit, and she's like, I guess I must have been on autopilot. But no, don't really. She like starts to look a little concerned. She's like, I must. It's just been I guess it's just been a stressful few days with bringing in a new pastor and having to entertain them and be a host and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Not something we've done very many times in our time here.
And sometimes you just do things on autopilot. I know there are many days where I'm like, how did I get here? It's,
Yeah. It's
It
always
just
scary
happened.
when you're driving and that happens.
Yeah.
Like I've been
And you're
texting
like,
for
oh.
the past 15 minutes. And
Oh shit, I'm at work. How did I get here? Yeah.
I think we've already made jokes about that too. Oh no, we are locked in a time loop. No, that's what we talked about last time too. Oh no,
We're all
What's your
AI.
favorite cryptid?
Haster's gentle lover.
Oh god. Oh man.
at some point in every podcast, you reach a critical mass of just jokes, and from then on, it just becomes just recycling those jokes through
Right.
themselves.
We're
also
AI
only took
in
us
the
15
best.
episodes.
It also doesn't help when you have 4 relatively like semi-funny people. Like we got the same 3 things on
Aw.
repeat.
Yeah. We're not exceptionally funny. We're
Right.
just funny enough.
We're just sort of funny.
That's all we need.
We're
That's
just
all
sort
we
of funny.
We're
Yeah.
funny enough for the tens of people that listen.
Yeah. But that's why I'm trying to get this story going.
Right.
That's what people
So
really
let's
want,
go
the
talk to
story.
the pastors. And
Okay,
Yeah.
she gets her phone after doing all that. She gives a call, and you see her talking a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, all the Phantom Finders actually wanted to talk to you and Reverend Goldsmith. Yeah. No, they actually wanted to interview you, I think, and maybe do a little, sort of religious, spiritual type of thing. Yeah. She like looks at you, and she's like, That's what you were implying, right?
Yeah, we just wanted to see kind of how the evidence definitely like if it changes anything or if it just further like imprints or not like it further solidifies what you guys have been preaching and teaching.
She nods and says, yeah, exactly. And talks on the phone a little bit more. She's like, yeah, I think they'd probably be happy to set up here. I think, we got a couple rooms that I think would be good for filming. And she's just like looking at you and nodding and not really waiting for a response. She says, yeah, swing back by and we'll have them set up. I'm sure they've got some equipment. They can get something recorded. This would be great. I agree. It would be so interesting to have you and Reverend Goldsmith to give your thoughts and opinions and insight. And, I'm happy that they're finally asking us to get involved.
We need to think of fake questions now.
I already got a couple. So
Okay.
we have at least 2 or 3 there.
I'm just going to assume that y'all guys do have some sort of recording equipment. We just sort of hand waved you guys coming back from the manor. I'm totally fine with that because at this point I'm just going to assume you always have some sort of recording equipment somewhere.
yeah.
Is not the ones that Cyril smashed last ep.
Yeah, not that camera, hopefully, but other things that might be just on loan, or even if you just swung back by the Cyril's apartment for the other cameras that I'm sure he has.
As soon as we finish that call, we peel out of this church parking lot and go back to the newsstand, run in, grab as much as we need, peel back, as they're just like, what's going on? Just watching us from the park.
But after just maybe like 7 or 8 minutes, the pastors come walking in the front door, and by this point, it's mostly cleared out. There's maybe one more person just still back there banging away, playing Inagata Davida on the organ, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, hey, so good to meet you. I'm Pastor Goldsmith. I understand y'all will be in the congregation today, and I appreciate you joining me in this service. It's really wonderful. I felt like everyone was just on the same page, and what a wonderful Sunday for everybody." And Pastor Guidry's like, yeah, I think it was great. I think it was great. I mean, it was as full as it's ever been. We had people in the upper pews, which we don't have people in the upper pews very often. So, Pastor, this is Marcy Hesketh, This is Joel and Cyril. They're all members of the Phantom Finders. Oh yes, I know the Phantom Finders. Believe me, remember, Pastor. That's part of why I'm here. It's because of what I've seen from these fine folks bringing us. The clearest footage I've ever seen of an entity, a ghost, if you will, however you may term it, but. Yes, we understand you wanted to interview us. Pastor, if you don't mind leading us to where maybe there might be a good place set up for an interview of sorts. I assume that's amenable to you all.
Yeah, of course. I think it actually will further what we're going for with it being shot like in a church or some place at least recognizable. Yeah. I think my office might be one of the better places. I've got a few chairs that we can get set up. The lighting's not too bad, I hope. It's often, that's sort of, it's where, we can counsel together. And so that's kind of like an interview. And so I guess it would make sense to have it there. And you guys are just kind of, I think that there's something about Reverend Goldsmith where he is just sort of a very charismatic presence, and even when he's not talking, the way that he's smiling and sort of the way his face is just emoting, I guess would be the best way to describe it. The way he smiles and looks at everybody, the way he looks at Joel, he shaking your hands, just nodding along. It's like you can tell that he is giving all of his attention to right here, right now, and you feel like just feel like his charismatic presence. He feels like you guys like being around him. That's just sort of like instant instinct. I would say. We talked a little bit. I gave sort of some of his description, but in case you forgot, he's in his like mid to late 50s. He's maybe 5'10", but he's got sort of like taller, swept back hair. That is pretty well maintained, so it kind of makes him look a little bit taller. He's got deeply tanned face, and he's got piercing blue eyes, and a neatly trimmed goatee, and he has a very nice suit on with several notable pieces of jewelry. French cuffs with gold cufflinks, a tie with a tie pin that has a large gemstone in it, and you see that he's wearing. I said it before, didn't I?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. I think it's a ruby. I'm going to say ruby unless I said something otherwise earlier. So
okay.
And he wears some very nice polished Italian leather shoes. Y'all could make. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Y'all can make you can do human or alertness or search. I guess search or human would be best.
Does human still work on it?
Yeah.
Let's try to
34 under 64 for me for human. Good try, though. Noah. I like it.
I'm going to do search.
Would I use human on this human, or should I use something else?
Should I use eldritch int?
Should I use squatch int?
I got a 93 over
So
61.
He takes the tie off, reverts to a full Sasquatch.
Grandpa!
Okay, so Marcy with an 89 over 14 and a Joel with a 93 over 61 both fail on their human and search. Cyril, this wasn't really human, but I'm gonna say it because you have some military background too. You realize, I think what's kind of strange is the way he's standing, and I think you maybe notice like he's got very impressively like tailored suits, but there's something that looks a little off, and this is. As you're sort of talking with him, you notice the way he's standing, the way he's moving his hands, and there's something weird about the way he's acting and moving. And it takes a little bit, and then suddenly you realize what it is. He's wearing a bulletproof vest. He's wearing armor plates. Under his shirt, but it's subtle.
Gotcha.
So not a full kit, but enough. To where you know that he has. Go ahead.
Oh, it was just like a thin Kevlar vest kind of style.
Yes, yeah. I guess it wouldn't actually be like full ceramic plates, but yeah, like a Kevlar vest or some sort of undergirding protection. Right.
It's just restrictive enough to be
just enough to where you're like, oh, I know what's going on. Like that's why his arm movements especially seem just like slightly restricted in a really just almost uncannily unsettling way.
Okay.
That is something that you notice as you are talking and doing this introduction and walking back to Pastor Guidry's office.
Etienne.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pastor Guidry, do you have, I mean, for this shot that we're going to set up with you two, do you have a bunch of religious iconography in your office?
I mean, I have a few of my favorite pictures. I've got, obviously, a cross, a handful of other things. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just to
take any of that down, right?
No. Just to drive home the point that you two are of the cloth, I think we should have some religious iconography around just to kind of put you guys in a perspective, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the decor in the office is I mean, Cyril, you've been to the office. We've had our counseling sessions, obviously. You should remember some of the stuff. I mean, I've got large pictures of Jesus, right? So not pictures, paintings.
I got Jesus.
Yeah, the photographs you have of our Lord and Savior are tremendous.
I didn't know they had 8K back then.
It's just amazing how that happened.
Yeah,
that shrouded turn can fuck right off.
Gosh, wow, oh boy, lives in the Catholic demo today. But he says, yeah. I think that it'll be fine. Pastor Reverend Goldsmith is like, oh well, perhaps I can play up a little bit of my iconography as well. And he, you see that he pulls out from under his collar, right? He pulls out a full chain with a cross at the end, and I mean it's a little bit bigger. It's not so small to be like subtle, but not so big that it's ostentatious. It's somehow just the right size to where it's noticeable but not off-putting. But it's also very clearly a pretty expensive looking crucifix chain that he has on. And you notice that there is also on this same chain a small antique looking key as well.
Is the metal of like particular make? Like, is it gold, silver, etc.?
Oh, it's gold.
Okay.
Yeah. The tie pin with the ruby in it, gold. His rings are also gold. So he's very into the gold.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, we get to his office. We set up the shot. I set up a bunch of cameras, and I'm sure we got recording equipment and all that stuff happening. So yeah, and then once we get the shot set up, I think we'll leave it to Joel to kind of go through the questions. We can help supply some as well, but you are the face of this enterprise, so.
Yeah, and Joel will in a mirror. I imagine if there's a mirror, if not in the office, pretty close. He'll go in, just make sure, hair looks good. He's not like visibly disheveled, and straightens out his shirt as best he can, and will sit across from them so that like one of the angles is like over Joel's shoulder into them, and then there can be another angle where it is the three of them kind of together. And
okay. Yeah. Yep.
Joel will say to the camera first, thank you everyone for joining us for this rather more tame episode of the Phantom Phinders, I think, but something that I know I and my friends here at the Phantom Phinders are very curious about. And with the marvelous sermon that we just witnessed, Pastor Goldsmith, and also having kicked this around for some time as well, we thought it would be an excellent excellent opportunity to get both the guest pastor, Mr. Goldsmith, and Pastor Guidry. We welcome you guys. Thank you so much for letting us into your humble, holy abode, and letting us just get a couple questions in with you guys, and get to know you a little more. I don't think a lot of people in the town know, especially you, Mr. Goldsmith, that very well.
Yes. Oh, well, we're so happy to answer any questions for Carrefour's own Phantom Phinders. Yes. I mean, in fact, it's your footage that first made me aware of Carrefour's existence and inspired me to ask Pastor Guidry if I could come do a few weeks of guest sermoning while we were here in Carrefour, and come visit your town and learn some of the history. It's truly a wonderful town filled with just a wonderful people. Pastor Guidry, your flock is just wonderful, so I am honored to be here.
Well, then I think what we should first start with is we should just get some general questions out about the two of you. Pastor Guidry, we'll ask you first, since you're the one from the town. We'll start with you. Kind of, what made you want to be a priest? And were you from around here?
Oh, well, yes, I actually was born and raised in Carrefour. I've lived here my whole life, and I've just always known, from when I was a little kid, that I wanted to teach people about the Bible, about Jesus. It just was always in my heart to do that, and so I grew up, went to high school, went to college in Lafayette, and got my degree, and came back here and started pastoring. I was a junior pastor for a little while, and then after our last pastor moved on to bigger and better things, I was allowed to take over, and I've been preaching here ever since. It's been 12 years now that I've been the head pastor here. So I've just been extremely blessed in this time, and being able to do this in my hometown with the people that I know and the people that I care about. It's just really wonderful.
And we appreciate everything that you definitely do, not only for the flock and for the church, but just for the town as a whole. Mr. Goatsmith, what made you want to be a priest?
Well, it's actually a similar story. I mean, I knew from when I was a little child that I was actually out riding my bike when I was about 10 years old, and when I was riding my bike, I happened to be struck by a car, and miraculously, I survived. Now, I was in the hospital for several days, in and out of consciousness, but while I was there, I felt that I was visited by an angel, and this angel told me what I needed to do. It told me to study, to be faithful, and that if I did, I would be blessed with great success. And I will tell you that that has been true. And so this calling that I've always wanted, and then having that commission, I've tried my best to fulfill it, and fulfill it I have, and I've been very lucky. Now I live in South Carolina, and I run my congregation out there, and I every once in a while, in order to let others who are my junior pastors get a chance to gain more experience, I travel around the country to various places that I find intriguing, and ask if they would let me guest pastor, or sometimes I just attend. I've been very lucky to do that.
All right. Well, then, my next question for the both of you, we'll start again with Pastor Guidry. Did you believe in ghosts before our episode aired. I know, part of the Holy Trinity is the Holy Ghost, but as a man who always had beliefs myself, I always kind of separated the Holy Ghost from the ghosts that we personally explain, that we explore. And I was just curious if you by chance had those same thoughts, or if they were very much one and the same.
As you ask this, Pastor Guidry looks a little bit nervous. And he's like, well, I mean, I want to stay sort of in the, approved doctrinal positions, but if you'll allow me to be a little bit speculative, I've kind of always made, now I know technically there's not like a difference between spirits and ghosts, but in my mind, we've got ghosts, which are sort of people who have passed on, that sort of remnant soul part of them that sticks around, and then you have sort of spirits, which I consider sort of like the demon phenomenon, right? We have in the New Testament Christ casting out demons all the time, and it doesn't seem like these are the soul parts of dead people. It seems like those are something else, right? These are like demons and devils. So I've always believed that those two things existed. I just have outside of the scripture, I never had any personal encounter with them, so I kind of resigned that to sort of the historical account, not denying that these could happen, but just in my personal experience that wasn't something that tended to happen.
All right, and Mr. Goldsmith, same question. Did you ever believe in the kind of ghosts that we hunt prior to or even before the episode?
Oh, well, yes. Anyone who's been touched by had great spiritual experiences, they've always had encounters with evil. And again, if you'll allow me to get a little bit personal, but I have after my encounter with the angel, I have experienced encounters with demons and devils and evil spirits, and I have had to cast them out and drive them out. I won't say that I've been particularly in the Pentecostal charismatic groups, but not to say that those things that they do are not biblical, just that for me they are not the focus. It's just so happens that I've run into those things from time to time. So yes, I've had experiences with these wicked things.
If I may kind of bounce off of that for just a moment, when you said you drove these evils out, what kind of evils are we talking about here? And how did you drive them out? Are we talking things that pulled from the pits of Abaddon itself, or are we talking more the more malicious spirits that we might be experiencing?
Yeah, you definitely notice when you say Abaddon, he there's like a little smirk on his face.
I think Joel smiles back at that too, just like a little knowing, little back and forth in his mind.
Does Guidry react to that?
Guidry does not really.
Okay.
So when you say that, there's this little thing. He says, "Well, I've been lucky. In fact, there's a member of my congregation who does a lot of international travel, and he's I will tell you this: he's one of our biggest benefactors, and he brought me along to one of his excavations when we were traveling in the Middle East, and I have to keep this part a little bit vague, but only because there was some government issues, from what I understand, and I just don't want to get. Let me say, I think everything was by the book, but I can't say for sure, and so I just want to be vague. But when we were on this dig, we came across many things that were buried there, and the moment we uncovered them, it just was like a pallor that affected our whole party. There were a few of us, including some locals, and when this happened, the locals fled. They were so scared. They were screaming their heads off about something, but I just stood up there and I told them I told them the power of Christ compels you, and I cast those demons out. I just followed the example that had been given us in Scripture, and then we felt the calm and peace come over the party, and we were able to retrieve those artifacts. And in fact, that's what I don't want to spoil the plot, but that's part of what we brought from the cradle of civilization to care for itself.
So that chalice in the museum that came from the cradle of civilization. Your benefactor, he's the one who dug it up.
Yes, we've had it displayed. We have a little museum attached to the church where we bring in, we do art from our local community, from our congregation. Every once in a while, we'll put on little performances, little plays focused around obviously spiritual messages. Every once in a while, we'll display things, and so we've had that on there on permanent display. But when I got the call from Pastor Guidry, when I called Pastor Guidry rather, and I asked him a little bit about the town, and I said, we actually have some of these things that we display from time to time in our local museum. Do you have anything that might be open to a similar type of display? He mentioned that y'all had the museum, so we just made a call to them, and they said, sure, we can fit you in for your time while you're here. So brought that along with us.
So then, to go to my next question here, and he kind of pulls up his phone real quick, looks at the questions he has jotted down. Pastor Guidry, what made you want to preach here in Carrefour? Obviously, this is your home, but did you see something here that the town needed that you could provide, or was it just it's fun and fulfilling to preach and teach those who you know?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. It was partially what I wanted, and it was partially just what was right. There's times when in your life when you heard the message today from Pastor Goldsmith. Sometimes things just all work together, right? And so not only did I finish up my degree at the right time, but there was also an opening for junior pastor at the right time. And it just so happened to be under the pastor who knew me. And so I did. I had applied to a couple other pastor jobs, and I even interviewed with a couple other churches that weren't in Carrefour, and just it never seemed right. It never seemed like the right time. But when I interviewed here, even though, I tried to, I don't want to say it was, I guess nepotism wouldn't be the right word, but just like familiarity, right? It just clicked. Everything just clicked. And so I think sometimes when those things are working for you, you need to follow that.
I get that wholeheartedly. That's kind of why I wanted to make sure that we were focused so hard on Carrefour, with it being, mine, my sister's, and my two friends here's homes, that being able to bring that service and put that town on the map is definitely what made me want to continue to bring Carrefour up, if you will. Now, Mr. Goldsmith, if I may ask you the same question. I know that you said it was us, and I can't be more flattered by that you came all the way from drove probably from South Carolina all the way out here. What about that episode made you want to come all the way out here? Obviously, it was quite exhilarating, if I do say so myself, being so smack dab in the middle of it. But what made you say, I need to preach there?
Well, I'll tell you this. When I saw that footage, I've seen many, alleged ghost sightings and videos of claimed ghost sightings, and I'll tell you, for me, they're either entirely unconvincing or obviously fake. But seeing your video that you had taken, I'll be honest, I felt a similar presence, an oppressive feeling, like I did, in my time on that relic dig, that we had that experience. And so for me, that's what convinced me. And so part of me was wanting to come and see if I could drive out any evil spirits in Carrefour if that was necessary. I'm convinced, though, that after talking with Pastor Guidry and meeting all the people, that this town is safe. This town is guaranteed free of any sort of demonic possession, and I feel like these people are they're just great. This flock is fantastic, and y'all don't need my help, but I am happy to spend a couple weeks here and offer my talents and services, and hopefully, just make some friends while I'm here.
I do have to say,
Weeks?
Well, I only preach once a week, so if I preach, twice, then I'm here for, I guess max 8 days, but or a minimum 8 days, but I could be here for maybe 2 or 3 Sundays.
I'm sure that the town is going to be better for it, and not only the town, but the church. Because if I'm not mistaken, as we've heard from Pastor Guidry's wife, that you doing this free of charge, and all the proceeds are going straight to the church, and that's, if I may speak at least a little bit for you here, Pastor Guidry, that's mighty impressive, especially considering all the televangelists that are picking up steam around here that are just, in my opinion, stealing money from the people that they are calling their flock and flaunting all this jewelry and this gold. But you are on the up and up, and I can't respect that more. And I must say, I must thank you for what you're doing for the town and for the church. And Joel starts clapping, trying to get everyone else to clap for him.
Pastor Guidry kind of offers a couple claps. Reverend Goldsmith raises his hand. He says, "Now listen, I will not deny," and he sort of points to some of the rings on his fingers. "I will not deny a predilection for some of the finer things, but I try and keep it tasteful. I try and keep it non-ostentatious, and I do not try and demand anything of my congregation. Like I said, I really only have a couple of people in my congregation who are exceptionally generous with their finances to keep us going. And while I do pass around the collection plate, I never comment on that. I just want to give people the opportunity to give if that's in their hearts. Now, I have been richly blessed, and I think that is evidence of the calling that I was given after I was struck, that this angel has been with me, has continued to work with me and see that I am prospered in my ways. And now, if I can bring my talents to other churches and help them prosper as well, then who am I to deny that sort of blessing?"
I'm sorry if you took that the wrong way.
No. Listen, I understand, and I'm glad that you recognize that and appreciate that. But I also want to just be 100% transparent about all of this.
I respect that so much. And, if I may, you keep talking about this angel. Did you ever, by chance, hear the name of this angel?
No, I can't say I did. I'm sure there are named angels in the Bible, Gabriel and Michael, and some of the archangels. But no, I never heard his name.
All right. And he'll turn to the other two for just a second. Obviously, we'll cut this part out. But you guys have any other questions for him? Anything else you feel like I'm missing?
No, I feel like you've done a great job, Joel.
Actually, I do have one more thing real quick for Pastor Guidry.
Yeah, Joel.
Did you by chance have the opportunity to go out and see the museum, the goblet that he brought with him?
When you say that, he kind of scrunches his face up and screws tilts his head a little bit. He's like, did I think I thought I did. I thought I made plan. I don't know. Everything's been such a rush lately. I don't remember going to see it. I think I made plans to see it, but I don't know if something might have come up last night. I don't. And Pastor Goldsmith reaches over and just pats him on the leg. Listen, it's been a hectic time. While we've been hosting, we've been sort of planning obviously what our sermon series should be on, and those sorts of things. So forgive the pastor if his memory is a little short. But,
what is your sermon series going to be on?
well, it's going to continue on some of these same themes that we've been talking about. Just focusing on the proper way to sacrifice, the proper way to worship, proper way to have confidence, the proper way to be blessed.
Yeah, so no Matthew 19:24 or anything like that.
Everyone furiously typing.
Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Let me refresh your memory there.
Incredible.
Oh no, I knew that. I was just trying to decide which translation.
Oh, sure. Yep,
that
always gets me too. Yep.
I'm just so well learned.
I've memorized the Bible in 5 different versions.
He says, "Well, it is true. It is. I will not deny any of that. I hope that people don't take this all to be, crass and crude and only about physical riches. I hope that people understand that this is about spiritual riches that God wants you to have. I mean, He wants you to live a life of abundance in the spirit, abundance and confidence in Him, not just financially, but spiritually."
I get it, but Jesus also said that a rich man should sell everything he has and give it to the poor and then follow Him. So I'm just curious how much of your wealth you actually need. And while I'm sure the Gidries appreciate it, I wonder how much of this is just charlatan antics.
He smiles and he says, "Well, listen, I understand, and while I've not felt the impulse to follow that no one can live all the commandments. No one is perfect. I will not claim perfection here.
Sure, I bet you won't.
If I ever feel that is where I'm being called, I guarantee you that I would not hesitate to strip down anything that would keep me from crawling through that particular needle."
Interesting. Would you take off your bulletproof vest?
He visibly.
Joel is like,
fuck.
It's
like this is well.
Would you strip down and do that?
I suppose that this is as good a place as any to conclude this interview.
Of course.
And Pastor Guidry's like, what? What? He's like looking at you, Cyril, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Bulletproof vest?"
He's got a vest on there, Reverend. You want me to prove it?
No. You don't need to prove it.
I'm just curious why a preacher who's making money for the church, wandering around the South, needs a bulletproof vest on. What are you hiding from?
Listen, like I said, I have been blessed, but it would be foolish of me to pretend that there were never threats on my life. Some people really do not appreciate the things that I am doing, and so I have had specific and credible threats against my life, and so I take precautions in order to potentially preserve, because I feel that this is a better. It's cheaper, and I feel that it is. It is a good compromise that doesn't involve me having to hire outside security, which I believe would bring undue attention to myself.
Sure. I'm sure there's lots of people who can't make their mortgage next month because you fleeced them for all they're worth.
I already explained something, and as I said,
there's something going on here, Reverend. There's something going on here, Reverend, and you're not being 100% honest with us. Do you want to know? You want to feel real evil?
I know real evil. I've told you. I have encountered real evil.
And you have not. You may have looked in a grave at a certain point, but we here at the Phantom Phinders have captured it multiple times. Would you like to feel
He's about to whip it out.
You don't know what I know. You have not felt what I've felt.
Then tell us, preacher man. You know. Tell the truth. Tell us what you know.
Says, I have
The cameras are off. The
felt-
recording devices are off. Why do you need all this protection? Why do you need to be, you're wrapping yourself in your spirituality and you're telling us all about your riches and how everything's great for everybody, but yet you can't tell us what evil you have faced.
He looks at you dead in the eyes, and he says, you, of all people, should not be lecturing me on evil.
Oh, is that so?
And the moment he says that, you see him mouth something after that, like almost mouth it as he's saying these things. And you hear just like a whisper in your brain that says, I know you shot and killed that woman. And that's where we're going to end. Thank you once again for tuning in to Chaos Springs Eternal. This is a Delta Green actual play. Thank you to Arc Dream for making and publishing Delta Green. It's so fun to play. Thank you to my players. Oh gosh, they did. I think they outdid themselves this episode. This arc has been a lot of fun. And thanks to Panzer Kings for Cocytus. That's our theme song. And thank you. And make sure you get those links in the show notes. Send us an email with an NPC idea, and we will be happy to include you in our version of Carrefour. Till next time, we'll see you next week.
A little scry job.
Yep.
Don't call it that, please.
No, actually, that's what it says in the Delta Green handbook. That's what it's called.
Burning the book. You can't prove it.
I'm gonna scry.
They paid top
I'm
dollar
gonna
for
cry
that
if you
in
guys
Vegas.
get stuff.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You may now scry in 3, 2, 1, and
Scry.
scry. There's an emergency. Sorry.
That scared the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck's
There's a
happening?
tornado happening. Again.
It unironically a
Second
tornado
tornado.
warning around me.
The second tornadoes at the church.